Back again, back again, back again. Alright. I am about to go off on a quick rant. Not for real. But I'm definitely having some experiences that I'm trying to get recorded just so I can watch back later and try to make sense of what I'm going through. So, I'm honestly thinking about like quitting where I'm working right now, right? And taking that leap of faith. I keep bringing up what I won't take, you know what I'm saying? And it just goes to like show me how funny spirit is and the universe is, because I literally talked about this, and then I had the opportunity to take that leap of faith, and I didn't take it, and now I'm going through the same exact cycles like I said would happen, right? So it's just funny because not only am I going through those cycles, but I'm also having the universe confirm to me that that experience is real, right? So I talked about like you'll get these opportunities to jump off of those cyclical behaviors that you have, or like that cycle that you're in. You get the opportunities to change it, right? To change it. And it's just so funny because I keep coming across these spiritual leaders or just people that are real into spirituality, and they talk about this kind of stuff. And there's a lady, her channel is Harmonic Reactor, and she's super intelligent. Sometimes I can't even understand what she's talking about, and I feel like that's a sign for me that I'm not really prepared for that spiritually, right? But anyway, so she talks about the same thing, like trying to change your timeline, trying to change your experience on a quantum scale, right? You have to put forth certain actions, and you have to maintain certain beliefs, and you have to speak certain words over yourself and maintain that vibration until you can shift that timeline. So what I'm recognizing is that the more you are in the spirit and the understanding of that you are in control and that you can shift your experience at any point in time, the sooner it happens, right? The sooner it happens. So for me, where I'm struggling right now is that I'm struggling to let go of my ego and to let go of control. Because what I see and what I perceive to be the path to obtain what I desire is not necessarily the path that the universe is giving me, right? So, to catch you up to speed, like I had a ticket and everything booked to go back to Thailand. And I would be leaving for Thailand in like 2 days. I would be out of here, right? Just gone. And so, at some point in that experience, I had my ticket booked. I was fairly confident about, my plans for the trip and everything. And then at some point I got reeled back into fear, right? Which was the universe, I believe, testing me to say like, okay, are you spiritually aligned and in a place mentally where you can go have this experience without taking a bunch of negative baggage with you? Because if I were to take, let's say that I was still in a place of fear and lacking understanding and clarity, and I took that trip anyway, well, all of that fear, that negativity, and that lack of clarity is coming with me, right, to this new place, okay? And I know, and the universe knows, that I don't want to manifest that. I don't want to build a place of negativity when I'm trying to leave one, right? And it's hard to even say that because I'm not really in a negative place, but I'm trying to leave a place that creates a new experience. I don't want to take my past experiences with me, right, in a negative way. So I got that test, and the test hit, and I was unable to maintain my vibration at a frequency that would allow me to shift my timeline to one that would put me in Thailand, right, or put me overseas to go have the experience that I desired to have, the adventure I desired to have, right? So because of that, I canceled my flight, and I lost some money on it and everything, and I was kind of concerned about that because it's like, okay, well, damn, I'm going to lose money on this, but at the same time, I'd rather lose money now than go and try to like make this thing work and then lose money, right? And so I not only went into a place of fear, I went into a lower vibration, and I put myself into a mindset of lack. And I told myself like, oh, if I don't do this a certain way, the universe won't provide for me. I have to provide for myself. And that's my ego holding on, right? That's my ego saying, I have to be in control of this experience or it will not manifest, which is literally the opposite of manifestation. Like, that's basically taking power from the universe that is infinite and has the ability to create anything and everything, right? And putting it in my limited hands and saying, no, I'm gonna make this happen, right? Which is foolish. So I ended up, I sorted out all the finances and stuff from that ticket, canceled the trip, and that was just gone, okay? And I took that as a lesson. I was like, okay, this is a lesson for the future, that when this opportunity comes about again, take it, right? Do not hesitate. Take that opportunity. And so here I find myself a little bit later, and I'm right back into that situation where I've had these cyclical experiences, and it was like right after I canceled my ticket, I went back into a state of fear, back into a mindset of lack. And I started repeating these same behaviors, and I started seeing things that made me not feel as balanced, right? And as I lost my balance, I didn't really lose my balance, fortunately. I was able to still kind of hold that vibrational state. And I believe that's why I was able to get back to this opportunity so quickly, right? Because had I not maintained that connection to source, and had I not maintained my belief in my ability to manifest that opportunity again, it could have taken me years, right? Instead, it's taken me like maybe 2 weeks or something. And here I am again. And so now I'm like, okay, let me bite off something smaller that I feel like I can chew, right? Let me put myself in a situation where there's not as much opportunity for fear to creep in. Because what I had done was I had created an opportunity for fear to creep in by having too many variables at play, right? And so now I'm like, okay, what I'm gonna do this time is start to cut out some of those variables. And what I'm gonna do this time is take my opportunity and in smaller chunks so that I can actually accomplish it. So I get the intention set. I decide that this is what I'm gonna do, all right? And when I decided this was what I was gonna do, when I decided that, I had to start taking steps. So I'm taking my steps and whatnot, and I already see, right, that fear has come out to show its face again, and I'm being tested again to be like, okay, are you truly capable of walking away from financial security? Are you truly capable of walking away, which I have before? I don't know why it's such a big deal now. I even make less money than I made when I originally walked away from working a 9-to-5 job. So I don't know, I keep saying this, I'm just here to have fun and have this experience driving and whatnot and get my experience. And so it's weird to me that when these opportunities come, like, okay, well, that was what the universe had for me. It's time to relinquish that, let that go, right? And then when that happens, I go back to a state of fear, and I'm like, oh, damn, wait, no, I can't do that. My ego's like, no, clutch, right? Not let go of that will. And it's funny to me because that brings to mind, I guess what I really wanted to even bring up in this video was the realization of how this reality indoctrinates us. And I talk about this a lot, but when we are born, right, we coming into this place, this physical reality is spirit. And we have very few chains and very few connections to this reality. Because we have so few connections to this reality, it's not real for us. It's still very much so a game. It's just a new experience. But then over time, we're told that these are the rules, and you follow these rules, and you obey these rules, and you do what you're told, and it starts to become real, right? Through trauma, through pain, through suffering. It starts to feel real in the physical. And we allow those physical sensations to undermine and to control our spiritual understanding of this experience. So our spiritual understanding of this experience is like, this is the game. I'll see it again in the next life. Like, I'm just here to have a human experience for a little while, and I want to look like this and be like this so I can learn some things that I didn't learn last time I was here, right? And then we just do it again. Okay? That's what I'm starting to intuit and understand about this place. And there's so much that goes into the spiritual, and I'll try to talk about that more in other videos, but it's also like this system is just constantly testing us and seeing what we want to manifest, and then saying, okay, you can manifest that, but if you truly want it, you're going to have to go through some experiences to make it real. And I explain that? So, I'm getting off topic. Let me jump back to what I was talking about real quick. But basically, so as a child, we have excessive amounts of free will. Like, that's all we are, essentially, right? It's free will. And in that free will, in our spiritual existence, in this human form, we don't have a lot of fear. We're able to think of things and create them. We're able to have desires, and then they almost just magically appear, right? Like, for instance, you literally have your parents just provide for you, okay? Some people, and in some experiences, you don't have that. But that goes back into, like, us just incarnating here to have certain experiences to enlighten ourselves even more on that spiritual realm, right? In the spiritual realm. So someone may incarnate on this planet to have a rough childhood because maybe they were here before and they had an easy childhood, and so on and so forth. But basically what I'm trying to get across is that as we get older, we start to lose that, and we start to lose the recognition or the ability to recognize that, oh, I have control over this experience. Just because this wall is here doesn't mean I can't walk through it or around it or over it or under it, right? And as we go through life, experiences start to tell us, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Sit down, obey, right? And I guess we start to believe it. We start to believe that. We're like, oh, okay, I have to obey that. I can't get through this wall. And for me, I'm at this place where it's like, I recognize I can walk through that wall, right? I've taken enough chances and tested my faith enough in my life that I'm like, oh, okay, I can walk through that wall. All that's going to be on the other side are a couple of good experiences, some lessons, some enlightenment, some understanding, and then another wall, right? And that's essentially everything. You face an obstacle, you overcome the obstacle, you get whatever dopamine or whatever reward it is that you want from that or consequence, and then you face your lessons, okay? And so as you face these obstacles, you're getting stronger. You overcome that obstacle, and now you face another one. You get stronger, you get your payoff, right, of overcoming the obstacle, and it just keeps happening. That's all it is. And so I'm at a point where I realize I can do that, but fear still gets at me, and I let it win sometimes. And I mean, there's positivity in that, because by letting the fear win, I get that additional lesson in understanding, oh, I can overcome fear like this. By letting this fear win this time, now it can't win that way again. It just can't, because I know, like, oh, that was fear, that was foolish. Like, okay, I can actually win this easily by just, like, standing still, being who I am, going forward, being patient, just like, okay, cool, I want this, I'm gonna take it. There, fear can't stop me, right? And I'm learning that day by day with all of my experiences. And so it's just funny to me, like, growing older, those walls become more and more solidified, and it's difficult to pass through them mentally. But technically, you can still just walk through them, and that's the funniest thing. Because that's where I'm at right now, is I just have to walk through this one wall, and everything I want for this next part of my experience is right there. So definitely, send me good vibes, send me some love, so that I can overcome that and create some new experiences and share them with you all, you know what I'm saying? But otherwise, yeah, I really, I had to get that out, put that down, so that when I watch this later, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let fear stop me, okay? And I've just had some of the craziest experiences to really open my eyes. So, for example, this is essentially just gonna be a rant video. I'm gonna try to get all of these upgrades that I've been getting from the universe and just throw them into this one video, right? Because I've got some time, I'm driving and whatnot. So, essentially, let me see, the other day, was this yesterday or day before yesterday, I was checking the weather the day prior, and there was supposed to be like massive thunderstorm, snow, or rain, I mean, it's supposed to be this big rainstorm, wind gusts were supposed to be like 55 miles per hour, just like really bad weather to drive a semi-truck in, okay? So, again, this is just an example of how fear will try to creep in. But if you can push through the fear, right? If you watch my other video, I don't even remember what the title is. I just throw these things out there. But I talk about like dogs barking, and then if you can make it past the barking, they essentially will just lay down and you can walk past them. So the fear crept in. I see the weather. I'm like, oh, damn, I don't know if I want to drive in that. You know what I'm saying? Might really be a negative experience, blah, blah, blah. So I end up in a situation where I'm, damn, okay, got a pretty good load, could make some pretty good money, maybe it'll be a positive experience, let me try. So regardless of that fear, I'm like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna try anyway, right? And I've also had experiences that make me more comfortable in those weather conditions anyway, because I've faced it before, and you know, so just gradually beating that fear makes you stronger, and you're capable in the future of being like, all right, I'm not scared. Like, okay, whatever. All right, fear, I hear you, but I'm good. I'm gonna keep moving forward. So I end up driving through this storm, and I had some really awesome experiences actually by driving through this storm. Like at one point, I'm going through Oklahoma, and there's this huge sandstorm or dust storm, and there's these dust clouds just covering the highway. I can't see anything, and I'm going through them, and it just was a really cool experience for me because I've never seen anything like that, right? And so not only did I get to have that experience, but I made it through successfully. So the universe showed me by facing that fear that now I can overcome things like that, right? So like now if I have to drive through a dust storm again, I'm not even gonna be fazed by it. I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's pretty cool, and I'm gonna keep going, right? And I feel like that's essentially what happens, okay? So like you face your fear, and in that you get that reward of kind of getting those bonus points. It's like, okay, you face that fear, here's a couple other just like small challenges, and you overcome them easily because they're never really as big as the initial fear, right? And I noticed that the weather ended up being great. Like it ended up not even raining that much. Later the sun came out. I got to take off my jacket. It was nice, like 70 degrees or something. It ended up being a great day, right? Even saw like some forest fires on the side of the road and whatnot, and just drove right on through. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just fear. And a lot of the time, if you can push through that, you can have some really awesome experiences. And that's what I'm trying to do. So, a bonus, if you are still watching this video, or you made it this far, right? Scrolling through the video, and you're here, I'm going to add another concept in here that I've gotten an upgrade to, so that I can understand it just recently. Maybe been today. But I recognize why some of our negative experiences are like why fear exists, right? So when we go back to duality, if you watch my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of non-duality, but it helps to understand things when we look at them in a perspective of duality. Okay, so all is one, and one is constantly is constantly attempting to create balance, and in attempting to create that balance, there is the dark and there's the light. There's the negative and there's the good, right? But these are all subjective, depending on who or what you are. Okay, so when we talk about duality, and we are in our, I'm just gonna say human experience, we are all manifesting collectively, okay? So we are all basically manifesting our own realities, but our realities feed into the collective reality, right? And essentially, one way I can explain this is when you think about celestial bodies, right? Which is actually a great example, because not only does that apply to planets and moons and stars, right? But it applies to us because we have entire universes within us. For us to facilitate our own experience in the individual, we have to have everything that exists externally within us, right? Like an Oculus Rift headset. It has to have we have to have this entire reality within us to manifest this reality, to perceive this reality, okay? So, in that, you are the universe. You have the entire universe within you, okay? And just like the universe, you are essentially one of these celestial bodies when it comes to all of the other humans around you. And that means that as you're manifesting, you are essentially like a star or a planet. And in being so, you are constantly pulling and pushing. I'm not even going to say pulling and pushing. You're simply catching things in your orbit. You're catching other people in your orbit. And other people are attempting to catch you in their orbit, right? In their reality. And we go about this delicate dance constantly. So the things that I believe are creating my orbit. If you believe those same things, then you can become part of my orbit, right? While also creating your own, okay? And this can get so deep, right? Because as you're in that orbit and you're learning from whoever it is you're learning from, if you're learning from me, or you're building with me, or you're creating with me, or whatever, right? And you're building yourself, you're building your own orbit up. So eventually, a couple things can happen. You could pull me into your orbit, right? Okay? So like, you could start out learning from me and then become a teacher that I learned from, okay? Or you can go back into your own gravitational pull and into your own path, and thus now you've sucked up whatever it was you learned or whatever knowledge you obtained, and now you have your own orbit, your own gravitational pull that you can pull other people into, right? And we're just always doing this. We're always just creating these fractal experiences for each other. So as you're creating that orbit, you're becoming more aware, more powerful, and you're creating your own orbit. Other people are creating theirs as well. And so we can come into not necessarily conflict, but we come into that dualistic, okay, so that balance. We come into like a point of attempting to create balance, where this person's reality is going to push your reality, right? Or like test the boundaries of your reality. And so those orbits will collide. And in that, like a Venn diagram, right? Like in that, there will be things that coexist, but then also you'll still maintain your reality and they'll maintain theirs. And that will happen until either balance is maintained or you are separated, right? You go off onto your own path. And in that, we find our collective. So the collective is like in this constant process of creating all of our individual realities. Well, we are in the constant process of creating the collective reality, right? Through our individual realities. This is kind of a deep thought. I hope I haven't lost you if you're still with me. Okay. So, in that, let's say one person develops a fear or an inclination to do something that another person may find negative or evil, okay? So that's again that dark and light energy. So someone develops some idea from darkness, okay? I'm gonna definitely make another video and go into this further. But someone develops an idea in darkness. They then either have that experience or they manifest it into their individual reality. And that happens to enough people that all those individual realities start to create the collective, that idea in the collective reality. So in that, now it's almost like a poll. It's almost like taking a vote, right? And in that, now this idea exists. And as a collective, we have to spiritually vote for whether or not we want this to be a part of our realities. And so that can come down to, like, for instance, the police killing people, police brutality, okay? So enough people have that negative experience to where it becomes something that we can spiritually vote on whether or not we want this to be in the collective reality. And what ends up happening is that enough people believe in it, and they thus create that reality for themselves. So they begin to align with that reality, and they see police brutality wherever they go. And this can apply to other things, to everything. And then you have the other side of that where people either don't pay attention to it or they don't believe in it. They don't subscribe to that. And therefore, that reality cannot truly manifest for them. Okay? So every time there's like police brutality, I'm saying like so much. Let me slow down. Every time there's police brutality, if you do not subscribe to that and you don't allow it to manifest in your reality, you'll always just so happen to be busy when it happens, or you'll miss that news report, or it'll pop up and you just won't be able to pay attention to it because of one reason or another. So if you're not giving energy to it, it just can't infiltrate your reality, right? And then some people will come and they'll say, well, I don't believe in that and it still happened to me and such and such. I'm gonna make a wager and say that one way or another, somehow you were manifesting that energy, right? whether you want to accept it or not. Because I've had to do some soul searching and realize that there were some things that happened to me because just on the edge of awareness, I was still manifesting, I was still agreeing with that negative narrative, right? And we don't even realize it. So I'm going to go back to just the concept of maintaining balance, and we're building this collective reality. So the more people that believe in it, the more real it becomes for the collective, because it becomes more real for the majority. The fewer people that believe in it, the less real it will be for the collective, right? Like, for instance, aliens. Not enough people really believe in that, so we don't necessarily have that experience in our reality, in our collective reality, okay? But going back to the idea of allowing something to affect your energy and whether or not that actually penetrates your reality, it's so subtle how it happens. So you can actually manifest things unintentionally by watching the news a lot, okay? So let me see if I can break this down without losing myself, because I'm kind of just channeling this right now. I'm getting this upgrade as I'm speaking about it. It's starting to make sense for me. So for instance, the news. All right, the news is basically taking highlight reels and reels of negativity from our individual realities. And it is this giant machine that it's a tool, it's an extension of the machine. And it's taking our individual realities and it's creating an opportunity. That's essentially our pole, right? It's creating an opportunity for us to subscribe to certain ideas or to not, right? To believe in certain ideas or not, right? And so let's say in someone's individual reality, they decide to rob a bank, commit a murder, steal a car, right? The news, okay, some of these broadcast stations will go and they'll pick up those stories, all right? So this one person, for whatever reason, in their individual reality, created this scenario. Now, the machine has gone and it's taken people and allowed those people to be vessels and to record this and document this, and then now they're broadcasting it to all of our individual realities. They're broadcasting it to the collective. So now we have an opportunity to essentially vote on that spiritual level. So we can all say, oh, well, I saw this on the news, so it's real. This is real. And then we start seeing it every day. Or we can say, I saw this and I don't believe in it. I didn't see it. I'm not going to pay attention to it. And thus, it doesn't exist, right? It just existed for that one individual that made it so, okay? And that can get really deep. Like, why did that individual do that then? Okay, so because spirit and divinity still give us free will, and in our free will we have an opportunity to manifest what we desire. So likely that person, for whatever reason, and again this goes back to the subtlety, so it's a loop, right? It's a chain reaction. So that person, for whatever reason, picked up on a message or something that put them in that vibration. They allowed certain things into their reality, and then thus became that thing, right? They played that out. So you have to be very careful about the news and what you're allowing your subconscious to adopt. Because let's say, for instance, like an active shooter, for instance, right? So they go through certain experiences and they're not healing their trauma, right? Potentially, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Just sharing what I believe from my perspective. They're not healing their trauma. They don't take the opportunities to leave negative situations. They end up bogged down, weighed down by a lot of negativity. They allow a lot of negative energy into their lives, and they don't heal it or remove it. In doing so, they open themselves up to more and more negativity. Well, in doing that, you then open up yourself to concepts and ideas on how to handle that negativity. If you're sitting around and you're full of negativity and you're watching the news these days, you're gonna see active shootings. You're gonna see murder and crime. And thus, you feel like, okay, that negative person, okay, that person that was likely being controlled by the darkness, negative entities, right? I could go into this all day. I'm gonna try not to. Then carrying out their negativity through these means, right? Whatever that may be. Okay, a shooting, whatever it may be. I don't want to manifest anything negative. So then that negative person that's having these experiences and viewing that information can come to the conclusion, so that's how I need to deal with my negativity, right? And thus it happens again. And thus there's another story for that extension of the machine to turn into media and to display to the collective and basically say, is this what you all want? This is happening again. Is this what you all want? And there's so much stuff like that. There's so much stuff like that. So then you ask yourself, I ask myself, why are these broadcasts so negative? And I believe because on a spiritual level, where we are as humanity is there. We are there, right? That's where we are. We're manifesting these atrocities, right? These negative experiences. Unintentionally. Okay? And I think we're also at a point of correcting it. And that's why there's so much polarization nowadays, because we are at a point of recognizing, oh, okay, what we put into our individual selves is coming out as in the collective reality. And in doing that, we are manifesting constantly the world that we live in, right? So when we talk about people with mental illness, and we're like, oh, well, we start to consider that everyone that does anything wrong has a mental illness. But we don't necessarily take steps to care for our own mentality and to heal ourselves, right? And then by extension begin to heal those around us and to care for those around us and to build more positive relationships and connections and to relinquish relationships that no longer serve us so that the people that we're holding on to so desperately can go and be happy in other ways, and we can go and be happy in other ways, right? When we're doing that, we are thus then manifesting in the collective reality, yet again, that inability to heal, that inability to let go, to grow from experiences and to be better. And thus we get more and more of what we call mental illness, or we get more and more free radicals, right? We start to build that sickness more and more into our society. The cure is simply to relinquish, right? It's to let go and to heal within. You have to heal the inner self. So back to my original statement of we are the universe. Each individual has an individual universe within them. In order to heal that external universe, that external reality, that external society, you must first heal within. Whatever that means to you, right? Get me in the comments. See you in the next one.